This wouldn't be a sports show. This wouldn't be a college football show. We're going to talk a little bit about the Colorado Buffaloes. Colorado on Saturday night hosting the Colorado State Rams. The Colorado Buffaloes, a 23-point favorite. The over-under is set at 60.5 in this game. Now, in terms of the game itself, let me start by saying this, man. I know that a lot of people get tired of the Coach Prime. You guys talk about him too much, all this, all that. One, that's a lie. You guys say you don't like it, but the TV ratings for Colorado are through the roof, okay? 8.5, I think it was 8.7 million people watched Colorado, Nebraska the other day. That number was essentially on par with Alabama and Texas later in the day. Now, admittedly, Alabama, Texas was on ESPN, charter dispute, all that good stuff. But it shows you the interest in this program. And I think this weekend specifically shows you the interest and how big it's gotten. Big Noon Kickoff is going to be in Boulder for a second straight weekend. College Game Day also going to be in Boulder. It shows the interest, it shows the excitement, but it also shows one thing. It shows that this is a darn good football team right now at this season. It'd be one thing if College Game Day showed up in week 1. Everybody wants to see what all the excitement's about. But to do it in week 3 shows that this team is legitimate, this team is exciting, and this team is creating buzz. Now, in terms of this game itself, one, Colorado's going to be able to score points because they're going to be able to score points against pretty much everybody they play all year. Biggest thing that stands out through 2 games for Colorado, it goes without saying, it's Shedeur Sanders. It's unbelievable, really, because I saw this the other day. Did you see that Mel Kiper now has Shedeur Sanders as a top 5 pick in the 2024 NFL draft? Now, to be clear, he deserves it. He should be there. I'm not a draft expert, but he has looked unbelievable through 2 games. And it speaks to how much buzz and how much interest and how much excitement this program has created, in large part because of Shedeur Sanders' play. For all the talk about Coach Prime, he has himself a first-round quarterback at that spot as Shedeur Sanders, unbelievable. 77% completion percentage, 903 passing yards, 6 touchdowns. And oh, by the way, Colorado at this point in the season has the number 2 pass offense in college football. Only Washington is better, and that's kind of incredible when you factor in that Washington has played Boise State and Tulsa. Colorado has played Nebraska and TCU, 2 Power 5 teams. So this offense is humming. It's not going to slow down. So much talent across the board. We know about Xavier Weaver. We know about Jimmy Horn. We know about Travis Hunter. We know about Dylan Edwards. And it'll be interesting because they could also get another interesting piece into the lineup this week, a running back named Alton McCaskill. Transfer from Houston. 2 years ago was an all-AAC rookie team member, a guy that many people believe was one of the best players in that conference. Tore his ACL, unfortunately, last year, decides to transfer. But this is kind of that between the tackles back that as good as Dylan Edwards is. Dylan Edwards is not a guy that's going to shake off 3 or 4 tacklers and pick up an extra 3-4 yards between the tackles. Alton McCaskill could be another dimension to this offense, an offense that I don't expect to slow down. Now, what'll be interesting for Colorado, not really for this coming Saturday, but more for just the bigger picture of the season. Defense does have to get cleaned up. Defense does have to be better. Now, to be clear and to be fair, this is a team that has played 2 Power 5 opponents on the season. Now, admittedly, they only play 1 non-Power 5 opponent the rest of the year. That is Colorado State this weekend. So it's not as though the schedule gets easier. And again, next week it's Oregon. The week after it's USC. So things do have to get fixed. I think that is my big concern, not really even just for this weekend, but going forward. Give up 42 points to TCU. 262 yards rushing in that game. And then even last week against Nebraska, I think it's easy to kind of overlook this. Nebraska did have 222 yards rushing in that game. Now, poor Jeff Sims, who has just gotten crushed across the media over the last week, he did turn the ball over 1 million times. He did kind of hand that game on a platter. And then I do think, to the credit of Colorado, Shedeur Sanders, the offense got more comfortable. It doesn't change the fact, though, that this defense has to clean things up. Now, in terms of the Colorado team that they're facing this weekend, kind of weird. I don't think we know a lot about them. So I think they're the only team. They played in week 1 and then had a bye in week 2. So only a 1-game sample size. And in that 1-game sample size, they absolutely got destroyed. They played what we know is a good Washington State team. Washington State, obviously, a week ago, took care of Wisconsin at home. The Colorado State Rams played them in week 1, and that game was actually in Fort Collins. That was a true home game for Colorado State, and they got destroyed. Final score 50-24. Washington State, how about this? They put up 558 yards of total offense, 466 yards passing. So I think Shedeur Sanders, I think this Colorado offense is going to feast. And the only question becomes, can Colorado State in any way, shape, or form keep up? Now, what'll be interesting about Colorado State is that coming off of that week 1 game, they did make a quarterback change. So they had been playing a kid named Clay Millen, super accurate quarterback, but just didn't ultimately move the needle enough. Last year, he led college football in completion percentage, did not result in very many wins. He starts the game against Washington State. The offense struggles. So they went to a player named Braden Fowler Nicolisi. Okay. Not going to claim that I have a ton of film on him, but he did move the ball effectively. And the head coach, Jay Norvell, did say that he is going to be the guy going into this week. 65% completion percentage, 2 touchdown passes, about 10.5 yards per completion. So he was chucking the ball around against Washington State. Admittedly, it was in garbage time, but I just bring it up because I do think this is a Colorado State Rams offense that will be able to move the ball. In terms of an official best bet, I'll tell you, I do have a side here. I actually like the over quite a bit in this game. I think Colorado State's going to move the ball at will. Colorado, is going to move the ball at will. Remember, Colorado State gave up 466 yards passing to Washington State. I don't think it's going to be very much better this coming week for Colorado State against Colorado. Tripping over the Colorado versus Colorado State thing. But I bring it up because I think Shedeur Sanders is going to feast. I don't think Colorado State will be able to slow down this offense, but I do think Colorado State will be able to move the ball a little bit on Colorado. So I have a final score somewhere in the neighborhood of like a 45-21 type thing, maybe a 49-20 type thing. Colorado wins. I think Colorado covers, but to me, the over of 60.5 is the best bet.